Feeling misunderstood, feeling lonely can be quite common these days, especially for those who are more on the sensitive side, an empath, a highly sensitive person, or even a very intuitive person. Especially living in a society where the conditions are so intense, where you have to listen to others, you're forced to listen to others, you're forced to listen to the older generation, and you are told to keep quiet since you were a kid. Especially as a child, you're grown up in an environment where kids are told to keep it low, to keep it quiet, to not speak up. This is also very common in some Asian cultures. So if you feel that way, or you know someone who feels that way, I'm going to share with you what is most likely going on underneath and how to change this. Okay? Let's get into it. So, when someone feels lonely, very lonely, feeling misunderstood, when someone feels very lonely, there is a huge tendency to also feel misunderstood, because in that loneliness, they're not speaking up, they're not expressing themselves, and they feel isolated from people around them, whether or not they're actually living in isolation physically, or they actually do have a social circle, but they are still feeling lonely. A little backstory here. I had a social circle, and my social circle kept changing, one after the other, one after the other. And every time it changed, and throughout the whole journey of friendships and social circles, I constantly felt really lonely. I felt isolated. I felt no one could understand me. I felt so misunderstood that I would get triggered every single time. I would get angry, I would get frustrated, and I would just keep venting and complaining to myself. I felt no one could understand me. I felt like the only weird one in the social circle in my family, and that nobody could get me. Part of it is also because I felt very deep. My emotions were so strong. I felt very sensitive to the world around me, to the people around me, to my very own emotions, to my very own thoughts, and that I thought nobody could get as deep as I could. And so I thought I was weird. I thought there was something wrong with me. And it was very hard to explain myself to anyone, because whenever I tried to explain it to my family or to my best friends, they would think I'm crazy. They would say that I'm so sensitive, that I'm too sensitive, and I should stop. So I ended up numbing myself with my emotions. And of course, over time, through all the numbness and also frustration, I wanted to actually know more about who I am, about my emotions, what I'm feeling, my sensations, all of it. In the process of that, in the process of seeing my shadows, accepting them, I realized I felt so lonely because I was not hearing myself. So when we feel lonely, when we feel neglected, misunderstood, we tend to enter that cycle of seeking validation externally. And when we seek external validation, we are never going to be happy, because it's a constant seeking validation that nobody could satisfy us, but only ourselves. Many people struggle with this, okay? Everyone wants the magic pill, overnight magic pill. Everyone wants quick, immediate attention from the people they love. However, if you take the patience, the time, the space to start listening to yourself, to start giving attention to your hurt side, to your inner child, whatever name you want to give it, to that part of you that feels neglected, that feels lonely and isolated, you will start to validate yourself. You will start to hear yourself, whether it's your light, your shadow, neutrality, whatever it is, you start to hear yourself. And when you start to hear yourself, the world will start to listen to you. A helpful suggestion here is when you're in the state of creating these shifts, to listen more to you, to love yourself more to you, it's important to detach from the people around you. Now, that doesn't mean you cut them off. It just means you pay more attention to you. You focus more on yourself and do not expect anything from them because you are working on yourself right now. Detach from them. Let go of the attachment, the codependency on others to validate you, to hear you, to love you. Like, no, stop that. Because when you cut off that connection, what's left? Here. Which means you focus on you. And where you put your energy, where you put your focus, that's where the energy flows. Now the universe hears you and sees you and says, it's time to focus on you. Which means your mind is listening to you now. You have the power. Your mind is going to focus on you and give you more space to declutter all those that's not serving you anymore and to invite the abundance, invite the love, invite the support into your life that you need and will be provided by the universe, by your love, by your spirit. Now, a little bit about the detachment piece on others, right? Because I know this can be hard for people to detach immediately. Practice detachment. There are so many methods out there. Practice detachment. Find the right method for you. One helpful way that really helped me is to set boundaries. Does not mean cut the people off. Simply means creating boundaries for yourself from a place of love and honor that, respect that, honor the energy that you set upon yourself. Of course, meditation also helps with detachment. When you meditate and when you focus on the void, the spirit, the higher self, the universe, you are detaching from your suffering, you are detaching from the physical existence, and that helps your mind to recognize how to detach and hold firm with your spirit, to experience life in the present moment, not through your sufferings, not through the past, not through the future, simply the present. And lastly, I want to share this part which I really enjoy. When you are so exposed to people who misunderstand, you feel misunderstand you, maybe disrespecting you, not honoring you, your mind is so attached to the past experience of that person that you now assume they are like that. Understand this. When you do that, you are already creating that mirror. So it is your mirror. In a way, you're also judging yourself. You're also putting that resistance on yourself when you assume, when you think that they are like that. The way to shift that is first to detach, as we spoke about. And when we detach and enter the present moment, you will see that they are of love. Sure, everyone has egos, everyone has flaws, but when we focus more on love, love helps us to shift the perception, to see love clearly, without judgment, without resistance, and you will begin to also see that the behavior of others towards you will change. That I have also experienced. Instead of being so attached to the way people have treated me in the past, only to see that I have treated myself that way too within my shadows. And by embracing love, not only was I able to shift me and align myself, but the people that I felt or thought disrespected me, they became more loving and more respectful towards me. And it is possible. Remember that anything is possible. Okay. If you would like to join my community, The Alchemy Solution, on Facebook, feel free to do so. You can click on the link below in the description and join my community. I share a lot of tips, a lot of training videos, and I also host guided meditations to consciously connect with your higher self. So if you're interested in that, feel free to join. You are most welcome.